Good morning, you guys. I hope you're having a good morning. I'm going to be coming on here and I'm going to be doing a live with Miss Linda. I'm going to get this thing set up real fast. Give me just 1 second. Hopefully this is all good. I'm going to wait for Miss Linda to jump on and then it'll be perfect. I hope you guys are having a great day. We're about to be doing this live with Miss Linda from OrCam. I'm waiting on her to jump on. Yeah, I just hope you guys are having a really good Sunday. It's going to be beautiful here in Kansas. Anyways, though. Okay, my phone just beeped. Let's see. Hopefully, I don't know if you guys hear that. Sorry. Okay. Here we go. Okay, hopefully I think I got it and I accepted the right request. Hopefully so. Anyways, though, I hope you guys are having a great morning. It's going to be in the upper 70s here. It's kind of crazy because there was just like snow here just a couple days ago. Hello, how are you, Linda?
Hey, Ashley. I'm Linda Avery, and it's so good to be here. How are you doing, Ashley? What are you drinking?
I'm good. You guys, I'm drinking some coffee this morning. This is Linda from OrCam. She seems to know all the ins and outs. She's pretty awesome. I adore her. And I'm so excited to go and have this little like quick chit chat about OrCam and answer questions and just give you guys a little bit more about my story and how I got involved with OrCam and all of that good stuff. But yes, Linda, do you want to introduce yourself and tell them a little bit about like what you do for OrCam?
Yeah, so that's great. So I'm Linda Avery, and I've been working with Ashley for about a year. And I work with all of our social media creators and our community ambassadors, and basically to get the word out about OrCam, which is a company that creates cutting edge tech to enable users to have more freedom, more independence. So specifically today, Ashley and I will be talking about the OrCam My Eye, which are you wearing it right now?
Yes, there it is. I'll give you guys more of an up close. Can you see that?
Yeah, it's about the size of your finger. It just snaps onto glasses, and as we'll talk about it can really do anything from reading any text to facial recognition to barcode readers, currency readers, as I'm sure you've seen on Ashley's lovely Facebook and TikTok.
Yes. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about OrCam and my journey with the whole OrCam stuff. If that's okay with you, Linda. Are you okay if I tell them a little bit about it? Okay. Yeah, so you guys, when I first got sick, I was basically told like there was no way I was going to be able to read again to my kids. And I was like, what? Like, how is it there's blind people out there that are told this, you know? Like, I was just so confused. So I did some research and I found information about the OrCam. And I'm like, how did my doctor not tell me about this? Like, so many people should know about this, because when I was sitting in the doctor's office and he was just like, sorry, I'm like, what? Like, it was just crazy to me, mind-blowing that he didn't know about this device, because he could be helping so many people not have that feeling inside, like hopeless, like I did, because I felt hopeless for a few months because I didn't know about the OrCam. And that's why I share my story, just because I just want more people to know about it. But I got started with OrCam. My community put a fundraiser on and raised money for me to get the OrCam. Our community support for my family is phenomenal. Like, I could not believe it. They put on a golf fundraiser and I got my OrCam My Eye. But then once I got it, Linda, I was so intimidated. I was like, this is so much. I got this box and I couldn't even read to do it. My family's trying to like break it down for me, but I couldn't understand what they were saying. So it was a lot at first, you know?
And like, I remember when we were talking, you said it took you, how long, like a few months before you opened it up?
Oh, yes. So it took me a few months to get it opened, and then because I was so intimidated. And then by the time I opened it, I only used it for a little bit, and I was like, I sat it back down. I was like, nope, I'm not ready yet. Like, you have to be ready
Yeah.
and you have to want to learn how to do it. And at that moment, I wasn't invested. I thought, oh, when I get this, it's basically going to change the world. I had to learn how to use it for it to help me become more independent in my everyday life. So at first I was like, nope, not for me. But I realized I was like that only because I had 28 years with my vision. I didn't want to have to relearn something. I was so frustrated and annoyed because I was 28. I have 3 little kids. Why am I having to relearn to do something? But then once a few months passed, I was like, just my whole mental state in general, I said, okay, I just have to relearn to do things in a different way. And that's totally fine. It took me a few months, but then once I got the hang of it, I was like, go, best friend. This thing is awesome. I don't want to put this down.
Yeah. So what would you tell someone who maybe they bought their My Eye, but they're intimidated to open it?
Oops, sorry. Hold on. I can't hear you. Can you speak up a tad bit?
Yeah, what would you tell someone who they got their OrCam My Eye and they're a little intimidated to open it up? Like, how did you personally get over it? How did you decide the time was right? What did you do?
Okay, so I would tell people you have to be mentally ready. You can't just get this and think that it's going to change the world. You have to, kind of like when I first got sick, everyone was like, Ashley, go to the blind and visually impaired school. And I was like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to have to relearn to do something. But once I finally started like learning it, I said, I can't put this thing down. It took me quite a long time to learn all the commands and just everything. I had to be mentally ready. Like when they were all telling me, oh, go to the blind school. I wasn't ready. It takes a very long time mentally when you go through a traumatic event like I've gone through to reroute your lifestyle and redo things certain ways. And yeah, you really have to be mentally ready. People can buy this for any blind and visually impaired person out there and think that they're going to change their whole entire life. But unless that blind and visually impaired person is willing to put in the work to find a different way to do things like read, do barcodes, recognize faces, check your money, you're going to be successful, in my opinion.
Yeah. And what was the first feature you learned that you really connected with?
First thing for me was, I remember I was at my sister-in-law's house and I was laying on the bed, and my kids at the time, they were pretty young. And I just clicked it and it read a book, like the first page of the book. And I remember my boys, Bentley and Oliver, they were like, Mom, what? This is awesome. And I was like,
wow,
kind of at first intimidated, you know, like, holy moly. But then my kids were like, this is so cool, Mom. Like, we don't just have to listen to Dad read us books anymore, which helped my husband as well, because it's just one extra thing my husband has to do every single day that now he doesn't have to do. I have the opportunity to sit down and do it myself.
Wow. And what's like another feature maybe that at first you thought, you know, this is so complicated, but once you got the hang of it, it was something like that you use all the time?
Facial recognition. At first, I will tell y'all, I was intimidated because when I first wore it, I remember if you don't have faces programmed into it and you like turn and someone's there, it'll say like, there's a guy or there's a woman in front of you. And at first I was like, how is this thing going to really understand like who's in front of me? And then once I got the hang of it and programmed in, excuse me, you guys, my kids' faces, excuse me again, it went so smooth. It was really funny. So my kids, everyone says my kids look alike, and it just makes me really happy. And then I can always picture them still looking the same. And then when we programmed in the OrCam, and all my kids like shaved their heads this past summer for the cancer stuff with our family, the OrCam I reprogrammed in their faces, and it kept saying like Bentley and Oliver were the same. And to me, it made me so happy because everyone says, Ashley,
Yeah.
they look identical. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, like, I loved it. And I love the OrCam just even now, like my 3-year-old Joey, he's about to turn 4. I'm so happy I have that thing because he tries to trick me and act like his older brothers. And I'm like, what? Because he kind of sounds like Oliver in a weird way. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, oh, hold on. Who is that? And it'll be like JoJo. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow, busted, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess I'd love to hear a little bit about your day. Like, what does a day in the life of Ashley Mizell look like?
Oh, man, you guys. So I wake up. I try to wake up before my kids just so I can have a little bit of me time, but they seem to always wake up super early in the morning. And I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all, slow down. So
What time do you wake up?
oh, I try to wake up between 6 to 6:30 because the kids wake up around 6:30, but I need that little 30-minute time just to feel good, you know? I remind myself like I can't see what I look like, but I have to show up every single day. So I wake up and I put in the effort most days, except on like a Saturday or Sunday, unless I'm doing a live like today, I put makeup on.
Yeah.
But I wake up and my OrCam, when I get my Ipsy packages, I always use my OrCam to lay out my makeup for the new products I get. So I always start my morning off and my OrCam's already ready. It has everything programmed in with the barcodes. So I know like which foundation and everything. Then I get my kids ready. Sometimes I do have to use my OrCam for sizes because my kids will be like, that's my shirt. No, that's my shirt. And I'm like, are you guys kidding me? Like, let me just check the tag.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I do that, make breakfast for the kids. Not really make breakfast, probably sausage dogs. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
And then I send them off and I get to working on my emails and checking the mail. I always do that first thing in the morning just because it gives me something to do. And I set my goals out and I always make sure I have my OrCam ready and I write out my stuff or I will say it into my phone and I'll print off a list. And then I just sit there for the day using my OrCam, making a checklist and going off because I have to set goals or I will just sit down and fall asleep. Like it's just, I don't have anything to look at, you know, like crazy, beautiful things. So I'm just like, oh, okay, I got to make a list and go by that.
Oh, and how do you set your goals? Like, do you have any special tips if people are looking to set goals, or like how does it work for you?
Yes, for me. So before I got sick, I always loved reaching goals, but I never put in the effort like I have now.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, if I set a goal and tell myself like, hey, Ashley, you're going to post 2 or 3 videos showing the world how a blind or visually impaired does something, to me, that feels like success. To me, that's rewarding. To me, I'm proud of that. Just because I'm helping other people out there, it feels so good to connect with others out there. And when people start asking me questions, it's kind of difficult for me sometimes to answer them. So I'll make that as my next goal. Talking in front of all these people like I'm doing right now, I was never the best at. So I still get really intimidated. So I make goals every day. Like, okay, Ashley, you're going to go and you're going to answer this video to this question. Yes, it makes you uncomfortable, but you're going to do it because change is uncomfortable. But if I don't have the change and making goals, I'm not going to be successful or as successful as I want to be because I want to be a successful person.
Yeah. The truth is, Ashley, like I know I tell it to you all the time, but you really do so much. Like Ashley, you know, she's a mom, she's an entrepreneur, she's always like Ashley and I speak every day, all the time. She's always, you know, thinking about how to do advocacy and help others in your community. It's really true. And
Yeah.
I really see it.
Thank you.
So wake up.
Is there any comments going on this screen real fast? I keep hearing something.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Can people hear us on here? This one thing just said, restart the app.
Yeah, mine's a little frozen too.
Okay. Can you guys hear us on this live? I just want to make sure it's working because that thing just read off that you guys can't hear us. I don't know if you can. You guys maybe give us a thumbs up or something if you can.
Yeah,
And this is,
thumbs up. I see a thumbs up.
are they doing good? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I see heart. So
No, you guys are good.
yeah.
Okay, so yes. When you tell me that you think I do a lot in a day, I will tell you, Linda, it makes me feel so happy because at first I felt like when I got sick, I wasn't going to be able to do a lot of things in life. And I was like kind of down and out about it. But then like I adventure out and I go and adventure out and I go and I do things. Like I just went to Connecticut last weekend. And a lot of people are like, Ashley, why would you do something like that? That is so scary. Like I have vision and I would never do that. But you guys, the way I explain it is I have my OrCam. It gives me a sense of independence and just security. I was at the airport last weekend and I was so hungry, but I didn't know like where anything was. So I got up and I stood up. I used my OrCam. I clicked what was around me. It read like what was on which side of the walls, and I would walk and then I would follow the airport along. And then I would take a right and I would check. And I eventually got to a McDonald's using my OrCam. I was like,
wow.
Gosh, I could not believe it. I got up there, I ordered, and then this old man, he said he watched me the whole entire time, and he was like, I saw you using that device and everything, and you were like counting your steps and all this. And I was like, yes, like that's what I can do with the OrCam. If I didn't have this, I would just literally be going and counting directions, but I wouldn't know what things were on the signs and on the walls and everything around me. I can stand there, click it, and like I remember it was NBC News Shop was right next to the McDonald's, and I was like, okay, I knew that's where I needed to turn left.
Yeah.
It was great.
Wow, that's very cool. So was this your first time flying alone? No, you'd been in Hartford before. Well, you went to New York.
So yeah, the first time I flew was in November by myself. This time around, I feel kind of like a pro. Like, anybody out there need a blind or visually impaired person out there, holler at me because I'm ready. Like, yes, it gives you confidence. And I totally recommend just if you're scared to do it, do it. Even if you have vision, just go and travel and do something by yourself so you can feel that feeling. But definitely if you're blind or visually impaired and you have the OrCam, take risk. Take it. At first I was in a square of a bubble, and I would only use my OrCam like for my kids' school projects or when I'm checking my money or like groceries. Now I feel so confident. I can go out there and do it. I walked to the beach last weekend by myself, and it told me the beach to go to.
Wow. That's amazing.
It was amazing.
And what were the reactions you had when people like on the beach randomly would see you wearing the OrCam My Eye?
I've had so many people come up to me, and at first, you guys, I was so like kind of embarrassed wearing this out and about. Like, oh my gosh, what are people going to think of me? I have like this thing on my glasses, but it's so small. It fits perfectly right here. It's not very noticeable. When people do notice it, they ask questions. They want to know about it. And that's what I want people to do. I want them to ask questions. A lot of people have no idea what this is. And when I explain it, they're like, how have I not known about this? And I'm like, exactly. Like, we have to bring more awareness to this and to help more of the blind and visually impaired so they don't feel so alone.
And I have a question for you, another question. So what are you say a lot of your videos are just answering questions you get. So what are the most common questions you get about the OrCam My Eye?
Lately, I've been getting a lot of, when I was last weekend at the ocean, people were like, does that attach to sunglasses, or what glasses can it attach to? And I want to tell people, yes, you can attach these to any glasses, sunglasses or anything. There's like a little piece you just put on your glasses that slide on, and you can put them on any pair of glasses. So I want people to know it does not just have to be like these. You can put them on sunglasses and everything like that. So you can have it pretty much everywhere you go. Another question is, what does it do? A lot of people are just so confused because they're like,
Yeah.
I don't get it. What does it do? And it just reads. It will recognize faces, the barcodes. I really love the barcodes. When you're in the kitchen, when I was at my brother's last weekend, I love putting groceries away, but I didn't live there, so I don't know where groceries were. So having my OrCam there available to read the barcodes was perfect. It was amazing. I loved it.
Wow. So, and how would you describe the OrCam My Eye to one of your kids' friends?
Oh man. So my kids' friends, so I go into my kids' schools about once a year and I talk about me being blind, visually impaired. And like 2 years ago before COVID, I would go in and I would read to the kids with my OrCam just to show them what this was, just so to bring them more awareness, because I want to be involved with my kids and their schools and their friends and everything. But I don't want to be that outcast mom that's like, oh, your mom's so weird. Like, what is she doing over there? So I figured if I just go in and talk to these kids and be like, hey, kiddos, let me explain this really cool device. All these kids are loving it. So when I explain it to these kids, I just go in there and I'm just like, y'all know I can't see. And then when I turn this on and I start using it, every one of those kids are blown away. They just can't believe it. By the end of the time I'm talking to them, half of them are like, where can I get one of those? I'm tired of trying to learn how to read. I like it. Can it just read for me? I'm like, wow. Y'all are so funny.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
And I kind of want to take a step back in terms of questions. If you already own an OrCam device, we have a user space on Facebook. It's called OrCam User Space. And you can go in, you can ask any questions. Ashley, you're there, right?
Yes, I'm on there.
User space?
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely.
And we have ambassadors. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're good.
Okay. So we also have ambassadors. So it's really a very special place. If you already are a member of, if you already own an OrCam device, you can really join the community. You can meet other people like you. If you have questions, we have OrCam community ambassadors who can answer for you. Anything from big to small about how a feature works. And it's also a great way. For example, we have members of our R&D team there. I'm on there as well. We have people from our community as well. So if you have a question or an idea for feedback, it's a very special place. So please join us. We'd love to see you there.
I totally agree. That user space group is very helpful. I wish I would have known about that when I first got my OrCam, because there's so many helpful people out there. They're all willing to help, because it's kind of like we're in our own little community and we all know the struggles of what we're going through. So if you have a question about something, y'all are going to get someone on there that's going to answer you in a very timely manner and want to help you. I've called people personally from that page just because they get frustrated over even trying to talk through Facebook. And I understand it's difficult when you're blind and visually impaired, trying to go over something and learn something and ask questions when you're blind. So if you guys are available on there and you have any questions, seriously, do not hesitate to ask, because there are so many amazing, incredible people on that app that will drop anything to help you, because they believe in this and they want you to succeed. And I want everyone to succeed. And that's part of the reason why I share my story with OrCam, because I tell you, Linda, sitting in that doctor's office, I remember my dad sitting right there and I just cried my eyes out when my doctor was just like, yeah, sorry, there's nothing we can do. And I was just like, y'all, I have 3 babies at home. Like, I want to be able to read. And he was just like, sorry. Like, that's doctors, eye doctors, everything, I feel like need to know about this, so patients don't feel so alone.
Did you wind up going back to your eye doctor to show him the OrCam My Eye?
Yes. So I actually have these little cards that I give to him and he gives out to his patients now, just because I'm a huge advocate for it. Like I said, I don't want people feeling down and out. I was so miserable. Like, I can't even explain the hopeless feeling inside of knowing how to do something for 28 years and it being taken away from you, and then being told there's nothing you can do. It's discouraging. It is very it's a hard situation to be in. And I don't want people to be in that situation, even though I tell people y'all can do hard things. You don't need to do a hard thing like feel down and out with something like that, sit in a doctor's office. I'm here to tell eye doctors and just remind people that OrCam's out there. So there's things available to help you.
That's a great point, Ashley. So I guess for you, what are 3 things that I guess we'll start to kind of think about wrapping up. But before we go, I want to say if you're interested in the OrCam My Eye, there's a link in Ashley's bio, and it says OrCam, and at the bottom you can fill out your information, and someone from our team will get back to you. So if you have any questions about pricing or if it's the right thing for you or what it can do for you, go to Ashley's bio link, and yeah, it's a great way to get in touch with us. So Ashley, I guess I'd like to end off by just asking you, how are 3 things that the OrCam My Eye gives you more independence for?
Oh man, only 3 things, Linda? Sister, that's going to be a hard one, because I tell you, I have felt so much more confidence in myself because of this OrCam My Eye. The independence that I've gained, like I was saying earlier, feeling confident enough that I believe in myself and this technology to go out and about on my own. I was just in a state without people. I went and I stayed at my brother and Kate's house, but I left their house a few times and I would like walk down to the beach. I would never, ever have done that if it wasn't for my OrCam. I only did that with my OrCam because I knew, like, once you go down the sidewalk and hit the tactical bumps, there's going to have to be like a sign or something, because the tactical bumps tell you like, hey, you're about to go into the street. So I just turned and I was using my OrCam. That right there is a sense of, whoo, pat on my back, girlfriend. I can't even explain how happy I felt with that moment. I called my husband and I said, Mike, I just did this. Like, I did this. And he loves it. He thinks it's so awesome. Another thing with the independence part is the school stuff. I feel like having 2 boys in school, you get a lot of papers constantly. And half the time it's stuff that my kids write and I can't read their handwriting. The OrCam barely reads their handwriting. Like, they don't really have very good handwriting, you know? So luckily their teachers like type everything off, and now it doesn't just fall on my husband. I can do that. Like, I am capable of still reading stuff. I'm capable of still going over directions with my kids. I didn't think I was going to be able to do that. I thought, there's no way. My husband's life is basically over too. He's going to have to do all of this. But come to find out, he had to for a little bit for me to learn and catch on about the OrCam. But now it's given me independence I never thought I would be able to have. And then the other one, let me tell you, I love checking my own mail. Linda, something about checking my mail. Oh man. Before I got sick, I was the person that was the organizer that loved to have everything. If I had a bill coming in the mail, I wanted to know about it. I wanted to know what was coming in the mail. And when I got sick, my husband took over. Y'all, I don't know if it's just my husband, but everything just kind of started stacking up. And I was like, what? Like, why do we have all of these like newspapers in this? Like, why don't you just toss it, you know? Well, then I get my OrCam My Eye and I'm doing it again. I'm like, yes, I can do it. I love it. I do. Makes me feel so happy.
Oh, that's amazing. So it sounds like on one hand, it's the practical aspect of, you know, being able to go out by yourself and keeping up with all of your kids' schoolwork and everything, all the papers that come home, and also checking your mail. But it's also the emotional side of feeling independent and feeling, you know, taking more and more on yourself. This way, like, you can do it yourself. You don't necessarily need to rely on someone else.
That's a huge thing right there, because my whole life, Linda, since I've gotten sick, is literally having to have somebody there with me all the time, it feels like. And it's not a good feeling. I feel a lot of, everyone says you're not a burden, Ashley. But when you're having to ask for help, like laying out my own clothes because I can't figure out a color of something, like it mentally messes with you. At least it did me. So it was really nice being like, okay, I can still do this. Like, I will say though, it still sometimes just makes me feel kind of blah, just because I don't know, like I just feel kind of like everybody else out there in the world can just look at something and be like, oh, okay, this is what it is. And I feel like I'm having to take that extra step with grabbing the OrCam. But then I go back and I think like, I'm very grateful I have this extra step to do this, because if it wasn't for this technology, I don't know where I would be. I don't know if I would be as confident as I am now. Excuse me. I don't know if I would be as independent. I don't know if I would feel okay walking around the neighborhood with my kids. Like I take my 3-year-old around the neighborhood just because I feel comfortable and confident, like, hey, what side of the street and all that. Like it feels good being able to go places with my OrCam.
Wow, that's amazing, Ashley. Thank you so much for sharing. As always, I feel like you always share, you're so willing to share your experience and share your story and your advice. And I know you inspire so many people. So for me, it's always so special to work with you.
Well, thank you. I truly want to say thank you guys and all at OrCam, because I want to tell you guys, when I first started using my OrCam, all I started doing was sharing. I didn't know people from OrCam, y'all. Like I didn't know Linda, I didn't know Omri or Odette or anything. And all of a sudden, like I just started being like, okay, more people need to know about this. And I'm posting videos online. And all of a sudden, y'all OrCam contacts me and they're like, we love what you're doing. And I'm like, seriously? I do this because more people need to know about this. And then that's how I connected with you guys. And I'm just so grateful and so appreciative, not just for the technology and the independence you guys have given me, but just for the opportunity to feel successful as a blind and visually impaired person. Before I got sick, I was a photographer, and y'all give me that sense of feeling and just I have a purpose again in life of helping others. And my followers out there commenting, interacting, sharing the OrCam links, helping other people, you know, somebody that's blind and visually impaired, and you just send my video out. Thank you. You guys are amazing, and I appreciate you, my followers and OrCam. We are making a difference in this world, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. Like I'm so happy to be a part of this. We're helping lots of people.
Well, bravo, Ashley, and we'll speak soon. Thank you guys for tuning in with us.
Toodles, guys. I'll hear you soon, Linda.
Bye. Take care.
Toodles.
Toodaloo.